What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey, guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to speak of them or talk about them or in any way portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. It would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hey, do you like true crime? Me too. And I know what you're thinking. There's so many true crime pods out there, you've already heard all the stories. Well, what if I were to tell you you're wrong? I'm Leroy Luna, the host of Excuse Me, That's Illegal, the podcast that takes a hardcore look at softcore crime. I've got a back catalog of hundreds of bizarre and hilarious stories just waiting to be heard by you. So come join me. Excuse Me, That's Illegal is available anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, with new episodes dropping on the 10th, 20th, and 30th every month, baby.
Let's hang out.
Let's hang out.
And let's talk about what lessons about.
Let's hang out.
And let's listen to two lesbians shout.
Let's hang out.
Let's hang out.
Hello and Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to 2018.
And welcome back to Les Hangout, the podcast where you can get your lesbian fix. I'm Ellie Brigida.
And I'm Lee Holmes Foster, and if you have been waiting through the holidays for that next hit of lesbian content, then we have good news for you guys, because this one is going out to all our pill poppers and all our chemical dependents.
That's right, this is episode 9, Lay Crushing Queer Content.
This episode, we are so super psyched. We have Knox and Gwenlyn Cumyn, the writers and stars of Barbelle, here with us. And if you haven't watched it yet, season 1 is available on YouTube now. Go check it out.
Yes, and for any of our listeners who haven't seen the show yet, Karen and Gwenlyn, could you give us a quick overview about what your show's about?
Hi, yes.
Hello, guys. Yes, we can absolutely give you. Gwen, do you want to do the honors and give our little elevator pitch?
Yeah? Okay. So Barbelle is about two lesbian pop stars who were in love and in a band together, but they break up. So day 1, scene 1 of our web series, they have to tell their manager that the dream is over, they're breaking up, the band's breaking up, and the manager says, tough shit, you owe us an album and a tour. So the series is about them having to work together even though they hate each other.
I like to describe it simply as a lesbian Spice World in Toronto.
Also accurate.
One of my favorite films.
But I think that starts us off with one of the things that we want to talk about first, because there's a lot of we could call them themes. Some of them are gonna toe the line of tropes, but I think that explanation. Queer trope number 1 is working and living with your ex. Is there anything gayer than that?
No.
No.
So that kind of kicks us off. We have the working and living with your ex. But what I like about it is a little different than what I would say is the go-to trope, right? Because I think something that's a very popular lesbian trope that you'll see in a lot of lesbian fiction, fan fiction, is the fake dating thing, right? Where you have characters who have to fake date each other and then obviously actually fall in love. This is sort of that flipped on its head, right?
Yeah, totally. What's that show where that happens? Faking It. That's the one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch to the end. Do they fall in love in the end?
I actually don't think they do. It got canceled early because it was such not a great show. That I loved.
So there wasn't enough time for their faking to making.
To make it.
Yeah. They totally had some nice makeouts though.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember those.
Oh, some fakey makes? Some fake makeouts?
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, but they weren't fake for one of the girls, of course.
Oh,
and
okay,
the
right.
other
Yeah, it was
one,
like,
it was a whole disaster.
I have a boyfriend.
Yeah, stupid.
But yeah,
Classic.
Barbelle's pretty much the first season anyways is a reversal of that, where they're they don't want to disappoint the fans and let them know that they've broken up, but that is what's actually going on.
And so instead you have the faking it while secretly dating someone else.
Yes, that happens.
Which brings us to another great lesbian trope, the lesbian coming to terms with her sexuality with the religious parents. And we have the ridiculously religious Lulu's parents. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that a little bit.
Yes, we do want to talk about that.
I think the first thing I want to talk about is the music that's playing in the background of that episode where we're at Lulu's extremely religious parents' household. And all that music is Karen and I pretending to be a 70s Christian folk band.
Oh my god, is it really?
Yeah. We recorded every single one of them. And this is like well after we shot the episode. Like maybe 6 months later.
Probably.
And we were like,
does this need?
I know. Yeah.
Some acoustic Christian folk.
It needs you being the Carpenters is what you decided?
Yeah.
Jesus
and the Acoustic Float?
Yeah, was the name of our 70s Christian rock band.
Something like that? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but can I tell you, though, I really thought you were going to end that sentence with it was you two pretending to be Lulu and her father during the duet, and I got really excited. I got really excited that that's what you were going to say, and it's not what you said.
Not quite.
No.
Although I will say that, I was raised very religious, and, at Bible camp, sang the song, Jesus is Just All Right With Me. And, I remember teaching Joy Tanner that song in Gwen's aunt's house, which is where we shot that episode.
She didn't know the song?
She didn't know the song. She didn't know. She's totally
Is that who
atheist.
That's the mom? That's who plays
Yeah,
the mom.
Joy Tanner plays Heather Sinclair.
Lulu's mom.
Mm-hmm. And I remember being in the kitchen with her and being like, Jesus is just all right with me. And I was like, I don't think ever again in my professional career will I ever get to teach Joy Tanner, the mom of Life with Derek, and the principal on Degrassi Next Generation.
Really?
A Jesus Christian camp song in my own lesbian web series.
I mean, that's a bucket list item for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
It's
ticked
on
that
mine.
bucket. I ticked it real good.
So one of the other things that we wanted to talk about was contrasting Lulu, because I think Lulu's story is a little more, it is more stereotypical, right? I think it's a story that
You've
we're
seen
kind
before,
of all
for sure.
familiar with. That idea of, oh, my parents wouldn't be okay with this. I'm not even sure myself. I'm in the closet. We can just hide this. And what we really liked is the contrast between that and Brooklyn, right? Where Brooklyn is kind of like the lesbians of the future, where
Totally.
they're confident, they're comfortable with themselves.
They're all over YouTube.
They're all over YouTube.
Yeah, well, I think Brooklyn has she's harnessed the inclusivity of the internet, that corner of the internet that is beautiful. And totally use that to her advantage and her own well-being. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was there a conscious decision to have sort of those two opposites on the spectrum of, where people are with their sexualities?
We definitely didn't want to use sexual identity as a plot device to sort of tell a story. We didn't want the show to be about gay characters being gay. Because, we've seen it, you know what I mean? It's I've seen so much media that is, about, women coming to terms with being gay and, telling their parents and, yes. And we do have that element of that because that is, a story that is...
universal truth.
It's a universal truth. And, everybody comes to terms with their own sexuality, especially with, coming out to their family. But we definitely wanted to just have gay characters be gay and just live their lives.
Yeah, just living.
So yeah, it was a conscious decision, definitely. And especially with Alice and Veronica too. We didn't want the focus of their stories to be about their sexual identity. It was just an aspect of themselves.
But it is also so true, and that's something that it's hard for like shows with, 40-minute episodes to do that, let alone on a YouTube series where you're dealing with minutes,
Yeah.
To have characters. And it's something that Ellie and I talked about a lot kind of leading into this to this interview, is one of our favorite things about the show is the characters. All of the characters on it, I think, are very real in a lot of ways, in that way that they're sort of all a little relatable, a little flawed, a little, human. They're human characters who happen to be gay. But I'm curious, what were your thoughts on having to play some of those characters who are, I think Alice and Veronica, both in their own ways, are also very human, flawed people.
Relatable and hateable. Yeah.
Ooh, nice rhyme. I haven't heard that one before.
Neither have I.
Good job, Gwen.
It's going to be in a song in season 2, and we're going to say it happened here. It's fine.
It happened here.
You know what? We definitely are probably going to steal that. So
yeah.
Thanks. Thanks for inspiring us, guys.
You're welcome, world.
Okay, back to the question. I didn't have the easiest time playing Alice.
I think you had more of a stretch in terms of how different you are from her.
Mm-hmm. And Karen, you're more similar to Veronica?
Yes, I would say so. I think that, the gregarious, outgoing part of Veronica is not something that I can identify with.
You can't?
No. Sorry, I did a double negative there because I'm coming to terms with it as I speak it. Yes, there's definitely aspects of Veronica that are very much like me. Perhaps I wish not to accept that. And that's why I have a hard time saying, no, I'm just a great actor. We're completely different.
So I think the real question that we have to ask now is, have you committed arson that we need to know about, Karen?
Have you? I wouldn't be surprised.
No arson, but I will admit to committing other petty crimes.
Oh, yes, you have.
Okay, I'll segue us back to an actual question, which is, now I'm curious, with Gwen having said that, what were for each of you, what were the hardest things to play in each of your characters?
Alice for a long time was kind of a nebulous character that we also had, I would say, more of a challenge writing. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's hard for me. I feel like I'm not far away from it enough yet to say what exactly was hard about it. I will say that producing and acting at the same time proved to be quite a challenge. And something that I wouldn't do next time, or I would create more of a separation next time.
For me, what was hard about it, I think in the same way with Gwen, it's so funny. I just love acting so much that nothing about it ever feels hard. There's things that are challenging, but I don't feel like hard has such a negative or pejorative connotation to it, where it's makes it sound unenjoyable. And literally nothing about performing Veronica was not enjoyable. It was just so fun the whole time.
She's an incredibly fun character.
So I think that the only challenging aspect of doing that was, as Gwen said, having to act as as a producer and as a writer too, constantly looking at my own writing and being oh man, I really missed the mark there. It could have been better. I should have. And then, not trusting the script on the day and being I remember I would bug you constantly being should we just rewrite this just this little bit? Just give me a hit here. Let me rewrite this one joke real fast. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we did do that to great results. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it was just annoying and and we just needed to trust that the script that we had written was good. I think that you'd probably get better at it as you go.
Probably,
Robin Wright, she mm-hmm. she she stars in and directed most of the last season of R.I.P.
Not R.I.P.
Oh yeah. She's going to continue on as the lead, right? Oh, that's so good.
Oh yeah, she's taking over.
She's the bomb.
House of Cards.
Yeah.
Taken
Hells
over.
Yes. But it does that in House of Cards. And I'm I remember reading that and just being how the F-bomb is she able to do that? It's just so incredible to me.
You can swear on the podcast. It's allowed.
Oh, I can? Marvelous. How the fuck does she do that?
There she goes.
Well, let's talk about the writing for a little bit, because you're both writers. Was it just you two writing? Were there other writers like?
Yes, it was just us. We got a great number of people to read the script and give us notes and ideas, though. So this was the first. Can I say that? Well, it's definitely the first screenplay that we've written.
And if you rewind us back to the beginning, where does the idea, the inkling of Barbelle start?
Where did it start?
Well, it actually started in the bar that we're currently sitting in right now.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, which is hilarious. This bar is iconic now. Like if God willing, we get, 7 seasons in a movie.
Oh, yes.
But when people are on the like whistle stop tour of like Barbelle in Toronto, your first stop on the whistle stop tour, because we came up with the idea for Barbelle. We kissed on the back couch for the show. And
is that where that scene was filmed?
yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And we had our first production meeting. Like, it's just kind of like, it is like the epicenter of Barbelle.
They did our catering.
They did our catering for all 3 weeks of shooting, too. Yeah. Which is so strange. So, anyways, if you're ever in Toronto...
You guys will probably be there.
Yeah, totally.
Probably, yes.
I will say it was Gwen's idea. Gwen came up with the initial concept of the whole thing. So... Gwen was the god that, like, divined the concept.
I mean, I have to answer where it came from.
Yes, it does. I am putting the ball in your court.
I do remember, I don't remember exactly how I came up with the idea, but I remember Karen and I being here and trying to brainstorm things to do together and things to make, and I mentioned this idea. And I remember, Karen, you were like, oh, but what if they're on a TV show instead? I was like, nope, they have to be musicians.
Which is hilarious because the second season, they're on a TV show.
Ooh. I know we're taking
not spaghetti, but yeah, you can be excited. Like there's an aspect of reality television that we're writing into season 2.
Ooh, I'm excited already. I mean, I've just been excited for season 2, like since since I finished season 1.
Perfect.
And I was like, this is it. I was like, I can't be over.
No.
Yeah. Right? Don't worry, it's not even close to being over.
We hope.
Yeah, we hope. Yeah, we hope.
We hope to.
We hope as well.
Okay, so talking about, you guys figured out the idea, then you had to make it happen, right? So how did you get all the people together to make this thing? And I know there also were a lot of queer women who were working on it, women in general. So how did you come about picking the crew, the director, all that kind of stuff?
It was like assembling our pirate ship crew. That's what it felt like.
That's a great analogy. I've never heard you use that before, and I think it's amazing.
Yes. I remember wooing our director, Kelly. For me, the amazing part of how this team came together was that we'd woo one person and then they would go woo their own people. And thus the Barbelle team was assembled.
Yeah. There was definitely a lot of like, it's so funny when you're asking people to work with you on an art project, it's like going on a date with them.
Totally.
Like, I remember having like a few coffee dates, like with our production designer. Do you remember when we first met Olivia?
Yeah.
And we like invited her out for coffee, and it was totally like a date. Like, it was like Gwen and I were propositioning this woman to like, to like have a baby with us or something. We were like, we're like, where did you like go to school? And like, what do you like to do? And like, who do you know? And we're like, oh my God, we know them too. Like, that's so great. And like, what else have you worked on? And like, yeah, like our aesthetic is like sort of like this. And this is what we like imagine the future to look like. And she's like, well, this is what I imagine my future to look like. And like, it's just like very, and like every time we would finish one of these like pseudo like interviews where we were like asking somebody to work with us, Gwen and I would always be like, okay, so like, how did it go?
How did you feel about that?
Like us?
Did they like us?
Did she like us? Like, is she gonna be like, do you think she'll do it? Do you think she'll do it? Like, it's nerve wracking. And like, I remember, I always know that something's really important to me when I like change my outfit 4 times before I leave the house. And I did a lot of outfit changing for all of the sort of like preliminary like will you work with us interviews for Barbelle.
But it was all based on like on recommendations and people who we worked with and really enjoyed working with, and people who we trust and people who they trust.
Yeah. And we did, I mean, we did work with a, 90% female crew. The core creative team. So our production designer, all of our producers, our director, our DOP, the writers, everyone was a woman. We wanted to make sure that our entire like core creative team was female because we wanted the female gaze to be a big part of the show that we produced because we've all just seen enough of the male gaze. I've seen enough.
The female gaze, G-A-Z-E, G-A-Y-Z.
G-A-Y-Z, G-A-Z-E, G-A-Z-E. Yeah, exactly.
That's how I spell gaze now with the Z.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I like that. Has that been used yet? Like the female gaze, like G-A-Y-Z?
G-A-Y-Z-E.
Guys, did we just invent the coolest thing ever?
Does it have an E at the end or not?
I think it would just be. I think it does.
It does.
Yeah, G-A-Y-Z-E.
Okay.
The female gaze.
Thanks. I'm glad we got to the bottom of that.
Yeah.
Can someone? We need to Google that. That's a cool thing. I'm gonna appropriate that term. I'm gonna take that.
Might make it a new lesbian band called the Female Gaze.
Yo! We actually do need a female band name. Maybe. But yeah, so it ended up, we were working with a production company, that allotted us some of our crew. So like our sound person was a man. And we asked Belle, we're like, can we have a lady? And they're like, we don't have any. And we were like, okay, well, it's free or we have to like, so we ended up having to, we ended up having some men on the crew, but, I think it was great because like the majority, or like I would say like 90% was female. And, it was awesome to just see everybody who was like in a titular position of power on the set be a woman.
How does that experience compare to other sets that you've been on that have been primarily male?
Whew.
Where to begin?
Just like 1000% better.
It felt like home. Is that fair?
It felt like home. It felt like nobody was jockeying for a position of power.
Yeah. There were no pissing contests.
Nobody whipped their vagina out to just let me have a look at any point, you know? I can't even begin to describe how much better it was. Well, I guess I just did.
Yeah. Or just what you just said.
Yeah, exactly.
I also want to be like, I don't want to take for granted the amazing non-female people that we had on set.
Absolutely.
And as part of the team, they all supported us in incredible ways.
Absolutely.
Lee and I created this podcast because we wanted to see more queer representation out there, and we love that you're out there doing it. So what advice do you have for other queer creators in our audience who have ideas but maybe haven't made them into a reality yet?
Just do it.
I have like the single piece of advice that I give to like everyone. Like I feel like it's getting boring. I feel like a bit of a broken record now, but but I really do think that it has like extreme value. I think that you can't let the big picture overwhelm you. You have to just get up every day in the morning and ask yourself, what can I do literally today in order to make this project happen in the future? Because
it might fail miserably, but you'll probably have learned something and then you can try again.
Yeah. I mean, I have made lots of like shit art, like stuff that should never see the light of day again. Just like absolute like trash fire garbage. But eventually I made something that was pretty cool. And I think that as an artist, I think it's really important to not hold yourself to a standard of everything needing to be excellent. Like, you know, when you're a weatherman or a weather person, you get it wrong 50% of the time. And it's okay.
Is that the statistic?
Yes, 50% of the time. Meteorologists are incorrect 50% of the time. And they get to keep their jobs. So artists, you know, if you get it wrong 50% of the time, you're still doing as good as a weather person. So
what more can you ask for?
What more can you ask for? So if you make 50% garbage and 50% awesome stuff, That's great. That's a good ratio. You still get to keep your job.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
You come to the New Yorker Radio Hour for conversations that go deeper with people you really want to hear from, whether it's Bruce Springsteen or Questlove or Olivia Rodrigo, Liz Cheney, or the godfather of artificial intelligence, Geoffrey Hinton, or some of my extraordinarily well-informed colleagues at The New Yorker. So join us every week on the New Yorker Radio Hour, wherever you listen to podcasts.
At Radiolab, we love nothing more than nerding out about science, neuroscience, chemistry.
But we do also like to get into other kinds of stories. Stories about policing or
politics,
country music,
hockey,
sex, of bugs.
Regardless of whether we're looking at science or not science, we bring a rigorous curiosity to get you the answers.
And hopefully make you see the world anew.
Radiolab, adventures on the edge of what we think we know.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. Two guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're two dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.
And I think as a queer creator, like, there's no more or better fire under your ass than, like, seeing something that's missing in your media stream. If there's something that you want to watch or listen to that doesn't exist, make it.
Agreed. Yeah. Besides this podcast, I'm a singer and I do music and stuff like that, and it's the same thing. It's like,
yeah,
just do it. Just keep making videos, keep like making that random cover. Like, maybe not everything will be perfect, but then I see like other people, they're putting out content and maybe it's not great, but they're still putting it out and like getting stuff out there, you know?
Yeah.
So why not you?
And I think like always be generous with your likes. That's like that's like another one of my hashtag for 2018 is like, be generous with your likes. Like a like on Instagram, it costs you nothing. It costs you nothing.
And it means so much.
And it means so much to so many people. So just like everything. Like, don't be judicious. Don't be precious about your Instagram likes. Like, Instagram is no place for ego. Actually, it's like the epicenter of ego, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how most people would describe Instagram, is lack of egos.
But we can make it the utopia of like this egoless state if we just throw out our likes without any
throw caution to the wind.
Exactly.
We talked a little bit about how you assembled the crew and the people who were in your show, and myself and Lee are big fans of pretty much anything coming out of like the Canadian queer scene, I like to call it. And I feel like you guys just all know each other and are like all doing things together, like the Gay Women's Channel. There's a bunch of different things. Yeah. So what is it like being a part of that Toronto queer media scene?
It's very hot.
Valid.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. The crossover is kind of insane. Like, we've all been in the same room together at like various points in our life. Like, I mean, I'm talking about like I don't know, I guess actors and producers and like creators and directors.
Yeah. I think to me it feels less cool and crazy than it feels like it's just a small world.
Yeah.
Therefore, we all know each other.
Oh, don't take away the glamour of it.
Sorry.
It's so awesome. We all hang out and like watch reruns of The Hour. No.
I feel like that boy in high school that's like, tell us about the girls' locker room. Do you want to make out and have pillow fights?
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess, no, Gwen is right in that it is just like the Canadian media scene in general is just like, it's a smaller playground.
Mm-hmm.
So there is more like chance for crossover.
Yeah.
However, there is something like kind of uniquely special about how, like I directed Annie Briggs and Gwen Cumyn in a play, like 5 years ago. And like Elise Bauman and I lived together for a while. And like Gwen and Natasha Nagavonlis and I were all at like a garden party together. Like that was Gwen's birthday, like 6 years ago. Like it's kind of
years ago.
Yeah, like the yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like it is crazy. Like there is something kind of. I would say that there is something kind of special and unique about the. I don't know about like the
keep saying about.
About?
No, please.
Yeah,
do.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes,
because we're talking about the Canadian scene.
About the like I don't know, like the queer female content that's coming out of Canada. There's something really neat about it. It's just like I think it's interesting in a lot of artistic movements, like be it like the beat poet movement of the 1960s in New York, or like the Dadaist movement in like Zurich in like the Second World War. You know, people see other people making stuff and they're like, oh, cool. Look at what you're making over there. That's interesting. Let me like, you know, take some of that and like add some of my own special sauce and like, I'll make this. And so it's just sort of like, it becomes this, to borrow from my, you know, own petty crime past, this like huge, you know, like burning arson fire that, you know, like you keep like sort of throwing gasoline on it and it gets even like bigger and brighter and it, you know, creates opportunities, to just like be really creative and think about stories in a new way and to help each other be better artists and more creative artists.
That's such a lovely high romance kind of answer.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw in a quick addendum for our listeners. We have neither confirmed nor denied that Karen's past petty crimes include arson. But just to get that on the record. But I do think, because one of the things I love to do on the podcast is I call it going down the lesbian rabbit hole of like looking up the connections. So, you know, like obviously on Barbelle, you know, I think you mentioned Natasha is there as your sort of ghosts of girlfriends past. I think all of our listeners will be familiar with Natasha and her role in Carmilla. We also have Kiana Madera, who plays Brooklyn in Barbelle, who was in Never Knock with Dominique Provo-Chockley. And so I'm curious, I mean, we always do it from like this, you know, here's our lesbian take on all of these connections.
Oh, she was also in Winona Earp, too. Kiana's also in Winona Earp.
Yes, and she had a bit part in Winona Earp. But my question is, how much of that right now is just kind of due to the fact that there's so much queer stuff coming out of Canada? What is in the water up there?
It's hard to say. Chicken, eggs.
It makes me really, like, happy.
So happy.
I'm like, good job, Canada. Because, like, I mean, Gwen and I are, like, maybe our favorite thing to do, other than, like, making awesome, like, queer content, is to critique other Canadian content that we think is really lame. So, like, there's lots of cool content coming out of Canada. Lots being a generous word. But there's also a lot of like
right now.
Shit Canadian content that,
and we're not talking about the queer content.
Not the queer content at all.
The rest of it.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's also the same with. That's how I feel about American content too. Like I only like queer storylines. Period.
That's okay. I'm really happy to hear that.
In terms of queer content, yes, we're doing well.
We are,
and I feel
even
like
in our French speaking offerings.
Oh yeah. If anyone hasn't seen the web series Feminine or Féminin, you need to watch it.
Oh my god, the Canadian accent on that was unbelievable.
Hey, merci.
Oh my god. Is that how they talk on the show? Because I need to look this up
Oui,
right now.
certainement. Ah oui, certainement. It is like, honestly, like when Gwen and I were creating Barbelle, we were just like, we just want it to be like féminin.
Yeah.
It's a lesbian web series out of Montreal that has mostly Quebecois
actor.
Yeah, or like francophone actors, and it's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
That is the standard to which we hold ourselves.
Yeah.
Where can we find it? I'm gonna look it up as
It's
soon
all
as
on
we get off this
Vimeo.
call.
You can watch all of it on Vimeo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like, get ready to have a new crush on Suzanne Clément, because, like, holy moly. J'adore.
My wife is going to be so excited for the rest of this week. Because I know what we're watching, you guys.
Yeah.
They're like the group of women or creators who made that series. I feel like I fangirl over them, and
Me
I
too.
wish that I could be a part of their group and meet them. And
Totally. Like, they like liked one of the Barbelle Instagram
Did they
posts
really?
once, and Gwen and I were like, oh my god.
No, you didn't
It's
tell
so
me
exciting.
that.
Yeah, because we posted about it. We were like, congrats to, like, Let's Spread the Word for, like, wrapping your shoot on, like, second season of Feminine, and they liked it. And I was like, oh my god.
I'm blushing.
They're just so cool.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
Well, we have to talk about the music in
Yes,
Barbelle,
that's
because Barbelle would not be Barbelle without the music. Specifically, I want to talk about Selfish Shellfish, which is just beautiful. So, Karen, was that all improv?
No,
or did you already have
improv.
that song written when you did that?
It was
whole
all
scene?
improv.
Based on like a suggestion.
Yeah.
And then
Well, Gwen wrote the lyric. I'm sorry that I was selfish. I'm sorry you don't eat shellfish anymore. And then that became
the starting point.
It was the starting point. It was the jumping off point. And I remember reading it when she first wrote it, like the episode, and I was like, well, that'll change later. And it never did. And then it became this like hilarious thing. And yeah, it just became that insane thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
Is the any more intended to be a joke about lesbians being vegetarian or vegan?
Well,
Or
yes,
is it just-
because Alice is vegan.
Alice is a vegan in the show,
Okay.
or is trying out veganism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Is she still vegan in second season?
As any good lesbian does. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
sure.
You gotta try it out.
But what is the songwriting process in general? Because there's a lot of music in the show. So how does that kind of happen behind the scenes?
Most of the songs were so Karen has written most of the lyrics, and then our composer took those lyrics and like would write us a demo, and then we'd learn the demo, and then we'd go and record the song, and our composer and our producer would make it into magic.
Yeah.
And that's how it most of the time.
Yeah, so we didn't really play any of the instruments.
Oh.
Like, sorry to burst anyone's bubble that thinks that
anyone
we're
think
like
that?
I think maybe some people did, and like I wanted to keep the lie going on longer, but like I can't play ukulele. I can't play it. I know it looks like a can, but a can.
It does actually look very convincing in there.
I'm so glad.
I know. Gwen is actually better at playing instruments than I am.
I think we have I think we're both intensely mediocre.
Yeah.
But we have that ability to like pick things up fast.
Uh-huh.
And then we drop it when we've learned enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Totally. Yeah. So,
there was one song.
What?
Well, La Crush.
Yep.
That we
Makes
can
sense.
take credit for mostly Karen can take credit for the tune. The main tune.
I wonder if
the tune for at least two of the lines.
Yeah.
And then
So we went over to the Loaded Pierogi, and I was like, it needs to sound like Rebecca Black's Friday, you know? It needs to sound like, I was like, it's gotta be like, it's hot, I'm not, I'm so messed up, I don't know what you were thinking when I kissed you, and it hit me again, the crash.
although I gotta say, the look crush part was all our composer.
Yes.
And it was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Hearing the demo that he did for us and then sent to us, where it's like this man singing, it's hot, I'm not,
Le crush, le crush. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
We loved it.
I love it. You guys just said that in unison.
Yes.
Well, we also have to talk about the music videos. So what was your favorite music video to film?
For me, it was Selfish Shellfish, which we filmed like a month ago.
I don't know if you've seen that
Yes, I have seen it.
Oh, you have seen it?
Great.
Amazingly ridiculous.
It was so fun.
That
And it
was
was
the most
all
fun.
Gwen's concept. Gwen, like, she was the mastermind behind that. She was like, I want to make this thing. And I was like, great. So I just have to like show up in a hot dress and like roll around with some lobster. I was like, sign me up, babe.
Well, but then our director of photography and the director of that music video, Victoria Long, she's the one who came up with the entire preamble.
Oh, yeah.
Where we're just like
staring at each other.
As if we're in a soap opera.
And you look so much like a Kardashian in that. You're like so Kardashian hot in that. I remember like watching the footage afterwards and being like, and it was so funny because Gwen showed up to the set that day with literally no makeup on and like wearing like sweatpants. And like, and Victoria was like, can you just be in like a little bit of it? And Gwen was like, I look like shit.
Look at me right
and
now.
then she literally, it took her literally like 2 minutes to like put some lipstick on and like put her hair back in a bun. And she looks like she's like the most expensive woman in the entire world.
Karen, that's so sweet.
I, on the other hand, spent probably 3.5 hours getting ready for that music video, applying highlighter to my cheekbones. And like, you know, various other beauty products. All this to say, Gwen is a natural beauty. I take a little extra.
You're too much, Karen. It's not true.
What does the most expensive woman in the world go for these days? I mean, that's high praise. I'm just gonna.
Well, I think that like
5 Bitcoin.
No, no, the most expensive woman in the world cannot be bought.
Cannot be bought. That's right.
She's priceless.
Although 5 Bitcoin
That's
would
true.
do it.
Yeah, 5 Bitcoin. What is that now? Like, that's like 100. That's like almost $1 million now, or at least 100K.
Can't keep track.
Yeah.
So everyone should know you have your option. You could buy Gwen, or I think all of Europe.
That's right. Yeah.
Choose wisely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have a lot of lesbians out there mining Bitcoin. No, but the music videos were great, right? My favorite was the video for Clear Cut, which is vaguely reminiscent of, it is a Windows 95 screensaver, but what I love about it is there's so many music videos that do look like that, right?
Are there?
Yeah,
both
the
if
Dixie
you,
Chicks
if you
one
go
right.
classically
That's true.
back to like
Yes.
Dixie Chicks
Yes.
landslide video,
Yeah.
kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
But even more recent ones, like, you know, Kanye's Bound 2. I mean,
Oh,
that's
true.
kind of what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, we just green screened you on a motorcycle in front of Windows 95 backgrounds.
There's something really charming about that, like,
Cheapness.
yeah. I don't know what it is. Like, I guess it's like fake irony or something. It's like,
That was
look,
real irony.
I know. Well, I don't know. I mean, like, just trying to describe to you how that music video became.
No, please do.
What it
Paint us a
is
word picture.
Is very complicated.
We couldn't have planned it.
We could never have planned it. We never. Okay, here. Should we let them in on this secret?
Okay.
Okay. We never intended it
Oh no.
to be bad. In the initial filming,
We're telling you.
I know, I can't believe we're telling you this either. This is like new news. Like you're gonna think that we're not geniuses anymore. So when we first filmed the music video, it was supposed to be good. We were like, we couldn't wait. It was going to be like this, like, it was going to be like George Michael's Freedom. That was like the initial inspo for it, which is like a great music video from like the late 90s with like Mila Djokovic and like all the other hot supermodels from like the late 90s, basically just like dancing around in sheets. So we were like, yeah, it's going to be like that. And it's going to be so moody and hot and like romantic. And then we filmed it. And it wasn't that.
It just wasn't that.
I was the post-production supervisor on yes, I guess I was the post-production supervisor on the 5th episode.
Absolutely.
Like, I remember trying to describe to our editor for that one, who was not Kelly. Kelly Powley, who was the director, also edited the other 9 episodes. This episode was a particular case because it had so much sort of like complicated graphic stuff in it. Mm-hmm. So our VFX designer, Francois, he, like, when I was initially describing to him what we wanted the music video to look like, I was like, George Michael's Freedom, this and that. And he really imbued me with confidence. He was like, yes, I can make it like that. It will be a masterpiece. I would put in like ice and fire and like they want to be together, but they cannot be together. And there is like nature and destiny and like flames. And I was like, yes, Francois. I was like, you understand. And then I got the hard drive that had the video on it, and I brought it over to Kelly's house, and Kelly and Gwen and I...
And Victoria was there?
No, she got there a little bit later.
Right.
So anyways, well, it was almost the four of us.
Right.
And I popped it in, and none of us had seen it before.
We were so excited.
And we were ready to watch this like masterpiece, this like beautiful music video that was going to be like really like contemporary, like, you know, like a Taylor Swift music video. And what we saw was not that. It was what is now the music video in Barbelle.
Hot flaming disaster.
A hot trash fire. So... for like, we watched it like 3 times together, all like jaws to the floor.
Silently.
Crying.
Oh, I'm crying right now.
Being like, what are we gonna do?
What do we do?
We don't have money to hire another VFX editor.
Do we shoot it?
How do we figure this out? And then like, in the pit of our despair, I was like, no.
Oh my god.
We make it even worse.
Double down.
We double down on this shit. We make it even worse. Francois, like God willing, will never listen to this podcast.
He will never hear this.
He'll never hear this, hopefully. Knock wood. But so Victoria Long, our director of photography, went back to Francois, and we're like, we couldn't be like, listen, Francois, what you gave us was such utter garbage. We want to make it even more garbage. Instead, we had to be like, Francois, we loved what you did with the flames and the macro shot of dew on a leaf.
The ice fire.
The ice fire and the like floating rose petals in the galaxy. They were great. Could we maybe have more of that? We were like, so, and like the pièce de résistance, like what I always tell everybody in this one, I was like, could we have some doves flying across the sky at the end? And Francois was like, no, I would do you one better. I would give you Canadian geese. And he was like, there was no, like, Francois is French, so he doesn't understand the meaning of irony. Like, everything is life or death for him. Everything is true or not true. That is why there are Canadian geese flying across the screen at the end of Clear Cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the tale.
Still how that came about.
That is incredible.
Now,
I'm so happy that I heard that.
Secret's out. Secret's out.
All I want in the world now is to have Kanye on our podcast to ask if that's what happened with the video.
I really hope
because I'll be honest, like when that music video, because I remember when that came out, and like and everyone's always like, oh, Kanye is such an artist, and so you turn on this video and it's literally like a Windows 95 screensaver of horses like running across a meadow.
So
and then,
funny.
You know, them on the bike with like the wind going the wrong way in their hair. I mean, I think it's very possible that Francois directed that video.
It is possible. It, like, who knows? Maybe Kanye saw this episode and he was like, who conceived of that? It's so funny. I really have a tough time talking about the experience because I find that I just can never quite do it justice. Like, the amount of coincidences and, like, insane, like, it's so much stranger than fiction that I just, like, feel like I never quite do the story justice.
We couldn't have made it up if we tried.
Yeah. It's just so bananas.
Incredible.
But what I love about that is that the togas were intended to be the serious video.
They were.
So serious.
They sure were.
Yeah.
Like, those were, they were supposed to be cool.
I did, on the day, I had a really hard time dancing in the wind with my toga.
Yeah.
Keeping a straight face. Karen was much better at it than I was. I could hold it for like 30 seconds and then I had to have a breakdown.
We are looking forward to many more amazing and amazingly ironic music videos.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
What are your plans for season 2? I know we talked a little bit. You've started writing.
Mm-hmm.
What can we look forward to?
Oh man, I love the season 2 scripts. I'm so excited about them right now.
Yes.
We
were very excited about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much just in case things change.
Totally.
Yeah.
I guess we can say, like we did say earlier, there is like we're definitely still in keeping of the, like in thematically the public versus private and like,
totally.
What is like, sold as truth to the public is not always the truth, that exists within the real lives of people who are sort of thrust into the spotlight of celebrity.
Are we gonna have characters back? Are there any
Absolutely.
new characters?
There are new characters. There are new characters, and Gwen and I are like totes obsessed.
Yeah.
And there's a new villain too, and I think that like the villain in this season is like quite sharply drawn, and like it's quickly becoming one of my favorite sort of arcs.
Yeah.
That character.
But is the villain played by Annie Briggs or Elise Bauman? That's the real question.
Ellen Page.
Actually, it's Ellen Page, but yeah.
Oh, there you
spaghetti. No,
we're all Canadian, so we know each other, right?
Gwen and I's dream is that Ellen Page will play this part, but we have to talk to her agent, etc.
She does have wedding plans to get to, apparently.
Yeah, well,
oh no, she's already married.
Yeah, she got married.
Never mind.
It's done.
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere.
Gwen's sad because Gwen wanted to marry Ellen Page.
So my other burning question now about season 2 is Francois back to direct another music video?
No.
My heart has just broken in my chest.
That we can confirm.
Yes. However, there will be other very fun, irony-laden videos for people to consume with joy.
We do, in the meantime,
Excellent.
also fully intend on doing a music video for Le Crush.
Yes, like a fully conceived Le Crush video.
Love it.
With dear Cynthia Hicks.
We haven't asked her yet. But
Yeah. Hopefully she'll do it. If you're listening to this, Cynthia.
Cynthia, call us.
Yeah. No, we'll call you.
We'll call you.
Yeah. We'll just harass you with telephone calls.
All right, I think this brings us into our Q and Gay, right, Lee?
Let's do some Q and Gay. And we're going to introduce Q and Gay for anyone who hasn't listened to the podcast before, but we have a segment where we have written some questions for you, Karen and Gwen, that we are going to ask you. And that is one of our favorite segments is called Q and Gay.
Q and Gay.
And I am going to kick us off with question number 1. You each get to answer. Who is your favorite character from Barbelle out of Alice, Veronica, Lulu, or Brooklyn?
Gwen here. Veronica is my favorite character. Easily.
My favorite character is Lulu.
Are there reasons why, or do you want to just leave it at that?
Veronica's just so fun and unpredictable. That's enough.
I love Lulu because, like, she's teenage girls. If I'm ever on TTC and there's, like, 2 teenage girls... TTC is, like, our public transit. Mm-hmm. So, like, if I'm ever on the subway or, like, on a streetcar or a bus and there's, like, 2 teenage girls just, like, having a talk about, like, high school or, like, life, I just... like, I sit as close as I possibly can without being a total creep and, like, listen in. I just love teenagers. I think they're so interesting and cool. And, like, Lulu, like, Brooklyn I love as well, too, because she's just, like, such a quintessential teenage girl. But Lulu's, like, a little bit... She just gets a little more screen time. So it's easier to fall in love with her.
I will say, I was coming home from work last week, and there were 2 girls on my train who must have been, like, freshmen, sophomores in high school, and they were having, like, the loudest conversation. And I actually did have a blast just kind of listening to them, because they were so earnest, you know? And, like, so... They felt everything so strongly.
That's it.
And I was like, oh my God, that was what it was like to be 15.
100%.
You know?
Like, that's literally it for me, too. Like, it's just, like, it's the earnestness that I just love so much. And, like, there is, like, that quality of earnestness, I think, is, like, in both Lulu and Brooklyn. And I adore it. I think it's so charming.
All right, for our next question, you don't have to get too much in detail, but just yes or no.
Unless you want to.
Have you ever had to live with an ex?
No, I didn't. I left.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's right.
Dead
silence. No. I got out.
I've actually never lived with anyone I've been dating because I don't think I could ever do that. Even if I like ever marry someone, I'll be like, separate houses?
Yeah.
With Leno.
Is that like forget
So no,
the
I've
1950s
never-
separate beds? This is like, I need my own house.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've just, no. So, no, I've never had to live with an ex.
Okay, number 3. Did you take a girl to your prom? Yes or no?
No, I didn't.
I didn't go to my prom,
You
so...
didn't go to your prom.
Negatory. Did not attend.
Is it because you couldn't take a girl to your prom?
Well, I mean, like, it was a very Catholic school, so, like, no, like, nobody took a gay date to my prom that I know of. I wasn't there, but I also didn't see any pictures. And that goes, like for lesbian or, like, gay men.
I was straight in high school, but I took a girl to my junior and senior prom as friends. 'Cause, yeah, just friends. Obviously.
I took a friend to a different dance at like in grade 11.
Yeah.
But we were just friends.
I'll never forget. So I went to prom. This poor boy asked me to go, and I said, like, "Oh, as your friend, cool, yeah." And I'll never forget at the after party, he put his arm around me, and it made me so uncomfortable. I like shrugged him off. And the only thing I could come up with, the only like excuse that I had to like get him off me was to say like, please don't mess up my hair. But the thing is that in high school, baby idiot Gwen had dreadlocks. So like there was no messing up my hair.
Good one, Gwen.
Not possible.
Can we see pictures of those dreadlocks?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank God. My high school career was pre-Facebook, so none of that exists anywhere.
It's okay. All right, next question. Mm-hmm. If you could be Tegan or Sarah, which one would you be?
I mean, I think I'm more of a Sarah for sure.
Do you?
Yeah, and I want to be with Tegan.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would pick Tegan.
To be?
Yeah.
Dream come true.
Okay, this one, it's a little long. So if you haven't noticed, Twitter gives us 4 poll options. So there's 4 choices on this one as well. So I'm going to list them all. So she's too young for you if A, she didn't have a sexual awakening to Xena. B, she's got fur on her shoes. C, she doesn't remember when K-Stu dated men. Or D, she thinks the best boy band of all time is One Direction. What's the most egregious?
Ooh, Mamma Mia. Well, she would definitely be too young.
If she did One Direction.
No, if she didn't remember when K-Stu dated men.
I mean, that's my favorite because that's the line that I came up with.
But she would just be so young.
She would just be too young.
She would be
straight up too young.
Like a teenager.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think that one would be the most like criminal, not egregious.
All right. Next question. Next and last question. What's your favorite type of shellfish? Lobster, crab, shrimp, or shellfish?
Right. I mean, I recently became a vegetarian. So for the selfish shellfish video, I had to break with the vegetarian gods and shove dirty sea creature into my mouth. I feel like all the pain I experience when we're suffering is because of Gwen's writing.
You're welcome.
You know that episode where Natasha Novoselov just slaps me a whole bunch? Gwen wrote that.
Oh, my doing. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just watched the supercut to that, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite?
I'm a shrimpy gal, so I gotta go with shrimp.
All right, and for all of you listening out there, remember you can give us your own answers to this episode's Q&A questions on our Twitter at LesHangoutPod. And super exciting, Karen and Gwenlyn will be answering even more Q&As on their Les Hangout Instagram takeover, so make sure to follow us on Instagram for that.
Woohoo. Yay. What we want to do is we want to, first of all, thank you guys, Karen and Gwen, for being on the show, for having this conversation with us. This has been
So much
amazing.
fun.
We're so excited
Love
you guys
it.
could make it.
Thank you for having us.
Do you want to tell our listeners where they can find you guys as well on the social medias?
Yes.
Yes. Karen, what's our handle?
So you can find us on Instagram at Barbelle_series and on Twitter at Barbelle series. Just Google Barbelle Twitter or Barbelle Instagram and you'll find us. And you can find both of our personal social medias through those accounts.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep clicking.
Just keep clicking.
Yeah.
Just stalk Karen and Gwen online.
Yes, please stalk us.
And you'll find them. So that is where you can find them. If you want to find us, we are also on Instagram and on Facebook at Les Hangout Pod.
Or you can email us at leshangoutpod@gmail.com.
You can check out our website at leshangoutpod.com.
And if you like what you hear, we would love it if you would rate and review us on iTunes. It helps other people to find the podcast and let us know how we're doing.
And if you want to follow us individually, the best place to find me is on Twitter at LSH Foster.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at LEB2792.
So thank you again to Karen and Gwen. We have loved having you guys.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure talking to you guys.
Yay. Uh-huh. And with that, I'm Lee.
And I'm Ellie.
And let's hang out again soon.
It's hot, I'm not, I'm so messed up. Don't know what you were thinking when I kissed you, and it hit me again. It's hot, I'm not, I'm so messed up. Don't know what you were thinking when I kissed you, and it hit me again. The crush.
Hi, I'm Laura Cathcart-Robbins, and I am the host and creator of the podcast Only One in the Room. Every week, my co-host Scott Slaughter and I invite you to join us and lose yourself in someone's incredible Only One story. We talk to real people dealing with issues like infertility, the death of a loved one, human trafficking, and women who, fake it. Oh, and we want to be fair, so we talk to celebrities too. Emmy winners like actor John Cryer, supermodels like Amber Valletta, and rock stars like Ryan Dusick. Everyone is invited to share their Only One story with our listeners. With 21 seasons and counting, we guarantee you that Only One in the Room has a story that you'll connect with. This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt alone in a room full of people, which is to say that this podcast is for everyone. Download Only One in the Room on Apple or Spotify today.